Hey everybody! Welcome to this A2 English listening practice video. You can use this video to practice your listening and comprehension as I speak. Today, we're going to talk about World War I. World War I happened from 1914 to 1918. It was known at first as the Great War. Most of the battles happened in Europe and the Middle East. More than 8 million soldiers and sailors died, and more than 20 million got hurt. Chapter 1. Start of the War. A murder in the city of Sarajevo led to the war. Sarajevo was the capital of Bosnia, a region of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. For many years, Austria-Hungary and its neighbour Serbia had been unfriendly. Serbian patriots wanted all Serbs to come together. They wanted Serbs living in Bosnia to break free of Austria-Hungarian control. On June 28, 1914, a Bosnian Serb shot and killed the Austria-Hungarian emperor's nephew. Austria-Hungary said Serbia was planning the crime. On July 28, Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia. Both countries asked for help from their friends. Austria-Hungary's friends were Germany and Italy. Their group was called the Triple Alliance. Serbia was a small country, but Russia protected it. Russia's friends were France and the United Kingdom. Their group was called the Triple Entente. Within a few weeks, most of the countries of Europe were at war. Both sides soon got new names. The Triple Alliance became the Central Powers, and the Triple Entente became the Allies. Italy did not go to war at first. Chapter 2. The Western Front. Battlefields west of Germany were called the Western Front. The Germans had hoped for an easy victory on the Western Front. But in September 1914, the Allies forced back the Germans at the First Battle of the Marne, near the Marne River in France. The armies on the Western Front then began 4 years of trench warfare. The trenches stretched from the coast of Belgium to the border of Switzerland. The soldiers stayed in these trenches for protection. Between the trenches was a dangerous area called No Man's Land. Both sides used fast-shooting machine guns against anyone who tried to get across the No Man's Land. Chapter 3. The Eastern Front and the Middle East. Battlefields east of Germany were called the Eastern Front. Armies moved faster on the Eastern Front. In 1914, Russian armies moved west into Germany and Austria-Hungary. But the Germans hit back hard at the Battle of Tannenberg in August 1914. Bulgaria joined the Central Powers, and together the troops of Germany, Austria, and Bulgaria took Serbia. Allies landed in Salonika, in Greece, to help the Serbs, but they didn't make much progress until the end of the war. By the end of 1914, the Ottoman Empire, in what's now Turkey, joined the Central Powers. The Ottomans attacked Russia. Allies from Britain, Australia, and New Zealand tried to stop them on Turkey's Gallipoli Peninsula in 1915, but they didn't succeed. In 1915, Italy joined the Allies, but they lost many soldiers fighting the Austrians. When the war started, the Ottoman Empire ruled Syria, Palestine, and Mesopotamia, now Iraq. In 1915, British troops tried and failed to take Baghdad. Finally, in March 1917, they succeeded. Later in 1918, the British took Palestine, and they took Syria too. Chapter 4. The War at Sea. The British had more and better warships than the Germans. The British Navy was able to stop some ships from reaching German ports. But the British couldn't stop German submarines, known as U-boats. In 1915, the Germans said they would try to sink all enemy ships in British waters. On May 7, 1915, a German submarine sank the British passenger ship Lusitania, and almost 1,200 people died, including many from the US. The German submarines caused a lot of trouble for the United Kingdom. By April 1917, one of every 4 ships that left the country never returned. In all, German submarines caused the loss of about 6,000 Allied ships. The United Kingdom lost 13,000 lives in these attacks. Chapter 5. The War in the Air. The airplane had been invented only 11 years before the war began. At first, Germany used floating aircraft called Zeppelins, rather than airplanes, to bomb the United Kingdom. Then the British built anti-aircraft guns to shoot down the Zeppelins. During the war, both sides built several kinds of warplanes. Fighter airplanes had machine guns to shoot at other airplanes. In 1917, the Germans started dropping bombs from airplanes. Large German planes bombed London and other cities. In the United Kingdom, these bombings killed about 1,300 people. Chapter 6. Events of 1917. In 1917, something big happened on the Eastern Front because of the Russian Revolution. A group called the Bolsheviks took control of Russia in November. They quickly made peace with the Central Powers, allowing the Germans to move their troops elsewhere. At the same time, the United States joined the war to help the Allies. President Woodrow Wilson at first didn't want to go to war, but he changed his mind because Germany kept attacking US supply ships. The United States also learned that Germany had promised to give Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona to Mexico if Mexico helped in the war. Because of these reasons, the United States declared war on Germany on April 6, 1917. Chapter 7. The Turning Point. By the end of 1917, there were more German soldiers than Allied soldiers on the Western Front. But in 1918, things changed. Almost 10,000 US troops landed in France every day, and the Germans knew the Americans were getting stronger. They tried many attacks on the British and French before the Americans arrived in full power. The Germans had some success at the Second Battle of the Somme, but their troops were tired. After the Second Battle of the Marne in July 1918, the Allies took control. By November, they pushed the Germans back to where the battle lines were in 1914. The Central Powers began to give up and stop fighting. The Bulgarians gave up on September 29, 1918. On October 30th, the Austrians asked for an end to fighting. The Ottomans gave up on the same day. By this time, the German people didn't have enough food, and a naval blockade was stopping shipments from reaching the country. On November 11, 1918, German leaders signed an agreement called an armistice, which stopped the fighting. Chapter 8. The End of the War. In January 1919, leaders from the Allies met in Paris to make a peace treaty. The treaty said Germany could only have a small army and navy. Germany also had to give a lot of money to the Allies. In addition, the treaty created the League of Nations, a group made to prevent wars in the future. On June 28, 1919, German and Allied signed the Treaty of Versailles in a town near Paris called Versailles. The Allies also signed separate treaties with Austria, Bulgaria, and the Ottoman Empire. However, the US Senate didn't agree to the Treaty of Versailles. Some senators didn't like the League of Nations. The Allies' dreams of peace did not last long. The German people did not like being punished. In 1933, they chose Adolf Hitler as their leader. He made the German military strong, and the League of Nations couldn't stop him. His actions led to World War II. All right, that's all for today. Leave a comment and tell me what story would you like to hear next time. See you soon.